Hi everyone. My name is Saurav. I'm the host for this podcast. We have Mr. Yashovardhan Bhagat with us, who is a seasoned entrepreneur. Have worked with a high growth stage startup called Flipkart. Have been a political consultant to one of the biggest, I would say, political party in India. And he have actually founded a couple of startups as well. And currently is managing the growth for a startup called Seekify. So yeah, hi Yashovardhan. How are you?
Hi, Saurav, and thanks for inviting me here. And I'm
Yeah.
doing great. Hope you are also well.
Oh yeah, I'm
Before,
absolutely fine. Yashovardhan, would you like to give your brief introduction about yourself, about your life experiences, so that the audience will connect better to you?
yeah, sure. I would just take it back to my college days. So that is where it all started. I graduated from IIT Kanpur, and at that point of time, I was actually fascinated by trains. I don't know why. And Kanpur being a very strong hub of trains, we used to think of ideas like how can we do food delivery in trains, and that is where it all started with a bunch of my friends. We just roaming around to restaurants and
Yeah.
trying to get a deal with them ki, yaar, I will just pack your food and get it delivered. So yeah, that was my first you might say experience as being an entrepreneur. And since then I have never stopped. So since then I've always worked in startup or similar setups. Like after
Yeah.
college I went to Flipkart, and then after Flipkart, as you said, I worked as a political consultant for BJP. And then I started my own company, which was basically into natural products. And yeah, so right now, after that, around like 6, 7 years, I'm here at Seekify and trying to make an impact in a tech space.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
Seems
about my journey. Yeah.
pretty interesting, Yash. So Yash, I think we discussed that this is basically what the reason of having this podcast is to to define like what types of and how careers look in startup, right?
Right.
And as you have been to the career like from last like 6 7 years in startups, I believe that you're probably the right person to guide the young minds, right? So starting with a very basic question, right? What type of careers, what type of jobs exist in startup? Can you briefly go into that?
Yeah, sure. First of all, it depends on the type or size of the startup that you're willing to work. I would just focus right now on early stage startups when you can actually relate it to the world called startup
Yeah.
that is not established. So there, generally, the person that is in highest demand, I would say, is a generalist. And
Okay.
generalist is a person who says no to nothing and in fact says yes to everything. So that is one person who is in high demand in startups. And more than a core skill, I would say it is more about the attitude or the fit that is required to work in a startup. So it's all about your flexibility to learn more things.
Yeah.
It's all about your reaction to different chaotic situations, or things like we don't have a plan for next 3 months or
Yeah.
after next 3 months. So what we'll do. So things like these are more around your personality traits than your hard skills in order
Yeah.
to work in a startup. And of course, you have to be smart. You have to have an IQ. You have
Yeah.
to be a problem solver, and that is all that it needs. So in terms of broad business functions, if you have to call it that ways, so I would say that broadly it is around there is a acquisition or a growth function which is responsible to get the users or the product out in the market.
Yeah.
Then there is a product team. If it is a tech first company, then the product team would be morely reliant towards tech. If it
Yeah.
is a service based company, then there would be a business team assigned to deliver the product or a service. Broadly, we start off with these two teams, and then we spin off, we keep adding layers and layers of different teams going forward. So that's how it
Yeah.
shapes.
But it's very interesting to hear that like we just believe that teams are divided into marketing, sales, finance, and it's very like it's a very like it was also a very shocking experience for me that that finance jobs doesn't really exist in startups, right?
Right.
I think a lot of people that I really want to go into finance and accounting, and they actually hunt for startups. And I like in my particular experience, I haven't seen a finance jobs in startups unless and otherwise the startup is of finance or of stocks related. Do you agree with this? Like, do you think that there is a bias, that there is a myth among the people that finance jobs exist in startups? And what is your take on it? Yeah,
So I would not say that it is exactly about finance.
yeah,
Functions like legal, finance, accounts, HR. So these are functions which, in an early stage company, either the founder or like the core team plays one of these roles. So it is
yeah,
not that this function does not exist. It is just that it is not a very heavy function in terms of resources deployed to it, just because of the nature or the total workload in an early stage startup. So, for example,
yeah,
the initial bit of team building is basically done by the founders and the core team only. They don't even have an HR per se. And same goes with legal, same goes with like accounting. Or in as and when the company grows, the next step is to outsource these functions.
yeah.
And when the company grows outside the outsourcing budget, it is then when we start creating these teams. So that is how it grows. So if someone is looking for that chaos and that wild adventure of a startup and also wants to be a finance guy, so I would say like it would be tough. Yeah, that is true.
Pretty much interesting answer. So Yash, so one other thing is that the founders and the entrepreneurs word, right, is like quite popular among the youth and probably everyone, right? Everyone wants to become an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to become a startup, founder, right? But there are a lot of harsh realities to it, right? And I think you have been a founder yourself. What do you think? What are some of the harsh realities and any myths that you would like to bust?
Yeah, definitely. So this is I think this is a very, very good question. So everybody, there was a craze, like everybody wanted to be a founder. I
Yeah,
have seen people just chasing after starting up. So I would just like to say like, this is not an easy job of being a founder. So
yeah,
you invest a lot of your personal time, and which is just you investing it and disassociating with whatever you had earlier.
yeah,
So the opportunity cost of becoming a founder is very, very high, and you should evaluate it before taking that leap of faith. And that is where you do the research well. I'm not saying
yeah,
that you don't do that. If you're
yeah.
passionate about it, and if you don't take risks, you will never be able to do that. But risks without evaluation, I am not in favor of that. So you should be a guy who evaluates everything, who takes a मतलब who basically even goes to the limit ki this is the time limit till which I can sustain myself financially. So
Yeah,
you should consider all of those things and only then start up. And in terms of the nature of work, I can share one of my experiences when I started my natural product business. So there, I literally had to just work from 6 a.m. in the morning to 11:30, 12 till midnight. So that was my schedule for 1 year straight. So that is how much you will have to put in your effort to get things started. So till you get the team, till you get the funds, till you get the brand name, it's all you. So it's not an easy job, and it might involve like doing everything and anything to get it up and running. So there, whatever myths are around being a founder that it is so cool and everything, it might look cool, but nobody becomes a success like an overnight success. That is true.
yeah.
So if
Pretty
you,
much like I think yeah.
yeah,
So I think yeah, I think people after like hearing this question like from 6 a.m. to 12 every day at night, I think
yeah,
probably a lot of people like will remove their founders from the LinkedIn headline. Um,
yeah.
I think next question actually very related to it. This only. So Yash, as you said that you have been working quite hard in the startup, right, from 6 a.m. to 12, and that is very normal, right? I would say because startups require such kind of things. The thing is that all the viewers who are here like are mostly college students or like have just graduated 1 or 2 years only, and they always have one question in their mind, like whether to go for an MNC, whether to go for a startup, right? It's a very common question that everyone has, and a lot of people like decide on function that startup require a lot of work, right? A shitload of work, and that's why they don't go for it. What are your views on it? Like, do you think that working a lot is a myth, like in startups?
So I would say startups will definitely demand a bit of
Yeah,
more time from your side, but you would evaluate it on a ROI basis. So if you look at your return as you're learning
Yeah.
from all of this experience, so you might have taken it like I was working from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. For 1 year, but I can definitely say that those 1 year, the learning in that 1 year was more than what I would have learned in 10 years in any standard company.
Yeah.
So definitely I put in that effort, but it is worth that amount of learning. So that is what you get from a startup, and that is what a startup can actually provide to you. So all that extra hard work that you're putting in, it is worth your time in terms of the learning, and especially for people who are in college and who are like starting their career right away, they
Yeah.
have nothing to lose per se. So they are the ones who should be brave enough, who have the maximum energy, I would say, to put in all of this effort, and they
Yeah.
should be like hungry for learning. And this opportunity, basically, I would call it as an opportunity to work in a startup where you can get like in 6 months you are able to learn what you would learn in 1 year or 2 years. So
Yeah.
definitely go for it, and that hard work pays off eventually.
Yeah, interesting. I think I just love the ROI part that, you first consider the ROI of, working in a startup. So even if you're working like 16 hours a day, that's completely fine. Like, what are you going to do with the, with the 5 or 6 hours that you will get in an MNC? Yash, have like one interesting question. Uh, so the thing is that when you actually graduate from your college, you join a startup and you see a whole different people altogether, right? You will see a manager who is just looking to get the shit done, right? There are different kind of people, right? So since you have worked with a very hyper growth startup called Flipkart, right? I want to ask you, like, have you had any experience with some of your senior, working with your senior who have a very different personality trait like yours, and how did you manage that?
All right. So in Flipkart, I would say from a culture point of view, when I joined Flipkart, most of us were aligned in terms of that startup mindset and
Yeah.
that growth mindset. So from a personality point of view, it was not very much different. It was like for example, my manager. So he has previously worked in a well-established MNC and leading the India, basically heading India office for that MNC. But he also made
Yeah.
that switch in terms of mindset. So people came from different backgrounds, different previous experiences, but
Yeah.
when we were in Flipkart, everybody was like operating as a unit, and that is how like startup mindset people get filtered out in there. And of course they everybody was like adjusting to their to the new work culture, and which was like new to them also. But I have never faced like so different personality trait in a Flipkart by setup. I've had experiences where I have to work with people who had a very different way of working. Like for example, they prefer micromanagement, or they want to see what is happening. But then
Yeah.
there are people who are like, okay, I'll just let it go and I just trust you, and we'll see later, like maybe 1 week later. So it's all about the trust on the employee, or basically eventually even the micromanager guy
Hmm.
is not a pain in the ass, I would say. So so that guy is also just his nature is that way. So if you have a conversation with him ki yaar, I am not comfortable with this kind of management, so he would be willing to accept and he would be willing to adjust for you. So I've had those conversations with my previous managers ki, see buddy, this is how I work, and if you want to get best out of me, this is how I prefer. I know that you might not have worked like this before, but if you can give it a shot, it will be beneficial for the entire team and for you also in a way. So that has worked for me. Like my managers, previous managers have had different way of managing different people within the team, and it's better to have that open conversation upfront. So just to give another story, like in Flipkart, generally people used to get their performance evaluation at the end of the stint, which is like after 6 months. I used to do it before the stint. So my performance evaluation used to happen like it tell me beforehand, before 6 months, ki what should I do to get this. So I used to go to my manager with a list of my requirement or my expectations from him, And he used to tell me, if you want all of this, you will have to do all these things. So that is how open my relationship was. And it's all about you building a healthy communication channel. That's it. I think people are smart enough to adjust to different style of working. It's just they just are not aware of the other people's requirement.
It's very interesting answer. One of my senior, I think one of the CFOs that I was working with in my previous organization, have told me a line that you need to know how to manage your manager, right? And if you are able to do that, I think life is pretty much sorted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. There is a one statement very famous everywhere, right? That almost 90% of the startups fail, right? In fact,
Yeah.
honestly speaking, more than that, right? Uh, so and there are like instances where we do everything all together, but still we are we fail in things, right? Generally in the startup world, have
Yeah.
you had experiences when you have done everything, but still you are again back to square one? Like, if you have, like, would you like to share one or two experiences for all the people who are interested in doing a startup? Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. I've had a lot of failures, and I'm not shy to share one. So I think failures are part of this entire journey, and without failures, you will never realize what to do right, what to do next. So I can share one experience where this is just one example. So when we were launching this company on natural products, so we were trying to explain the world that what kind of food you should eat and what kind of food you are currently eating, but people just didn't accept it. People were just like, we have been eating this for 15 years, nothing has happened so far. Why would anything happen now? So why are you even telling us that this is, you should switch to a different product altogether? So it was like, you, when customers just don't understand, so you try and try till you are able to get those first 100 people to believe, yes, this is a nice thing to have and this is what we want. And till that time it is just failures. So I have literally knocked on doors, like this is literally what I have done, and just gone on door to door and telling people that this is what you should do. That's it, just educating people. So people have had their own opinions, and this there were times when you feel like, I don't think they will understand and let it be. But it's just that there you have to just give motivate yourself and get up, and then see you just need that first 100 customers and they will become your promoters eventually. So yeah, so this is one experience I would say, where I had multiple failures, small, though small in nature, but multiple times hitting the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we can relate to that. Uh, uh, so, Yash, now I would like to switch the conversation to more about starting your journey in a startup, right? I think there are a lot of courses available, and on Y Combinator, like how to start a startup. But I think nobody says like how to start your career in startup, right?
Yeah.
Particularly. Wanted to ask from you, right? What are the top qualities, other than the technical skills, of course, right, are required for a person to make a successful, or I would say a healthy career in startups, right? What are some of the top qualities you think that is something that people should have?
So I would say one would be like ability to work in chaos. That is one. So first, I would just put down these qualities from personality traits and then the hard skills. So personality traits, I always weigh them more because if you treat like these are the first 20-50 people, so it's almost like given a situation. Suppose now that we have all seen lockdown, so I can just give a relatable example. So suppose you are under lockdown and you have to live with these 20 people in a house for like 6 months. So we want every 20 people to come out happy out of that lockdown. So that is like the first thing to happen. And then the second thing to happen is like whatever you do within those 6 months, that should become a success. So people are the first thing that I would say. And you want to be a good fit for a startup ecosystem or that startup environment. So to be a good fit, it is like you have to be flexible, you should be like patient, you should be able to deal or see through panic situations or maybe failures rather, you should be motivated enough, you should be able to keep yourself motivated. So all of those things and are very much required to be like able to work in a startup. And then after, when you are a good fit, of course you need some skills. So if you talk about hard skills, I would say like a good analytical mindset is much needed. So right now almost every startup or any other business is working on data. So no decision is taken without data. And if you are good with like understanding how data works, like how it is captured, how things are measured, and then how you can act on it, I think any business problem becomes easier to solve. So just to give my example, so I have not done, like I've not studied marketing ever, but right now I am in this current role, I am supposed to drive growth which is involving marketing. So because I'm able to do that a bit because of ability to process everything, every business problem into data problems. So I'm able to convert those business problems to data problems and solve them by data. So I think that data mindset and that IQ enables you to solve different functions and work across, and then you can be that generalist guy who can just do a lot of things. And yeah, so that would be a one skill that I would value the most. And yeah.
I think so. So not every person is a number person. Like when I'm not a number person, but but I think one of the things, like one of the person told me that even if you're not a number person, but if you use number in every 10th word while talking to people, I think that shows that at least you understand numbers a bit and
Yeah.
probably know basics of Excel and SQL.
Yes. So
Yeah,
when I say numbers, Saurav, I was not meaning like you should be a data analytics guy. It's like
yeah,
so there is one thing. There are two parts of it. So one is like business insights, and the other part is data analytics. So if you are able to at least read numbers as in ki, suppose if I tell you, so like you are good with marketing, right? So suppose you see few numbers around marketing, so you are able to understand like what is going right, what is going wrong. So things like these are also like able to understand numbers. So that also works. And yeah, you're right that it is not just the data guy who stays in a startup, and it is also like other skills like for example, the core functions like which involve basic problem solving as your requirement. So if you're able to like solve problems, and if you are able to just keep at it, basically suppose if even if you don't know stuff, but you are like, I will figure out a solution to it. So when I say problem solver, it does not mean ki it has to come spontaneously. Ki I throw a problem at you and you give me a solution. It's just like ki you say ki I will get this done. I will research about it. I will talk to people who have done this before, and I will come back with the solution, and we will discuss it and then plan around it. So that kind of guy also, that skill is one of many very crucial skill to like work and then grow in a startup as a career.
Pretty much interesting answer, Yash. Uh, let's go back to the part of applying to startups, right? Which is like a lot of like viewers are rightly actually call it students. How to really apply to startups? There are hacks to it, right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
you can't just put up a resume and cover letter. You believe that things will happen. There are hacks to it. Uh, would you can you share your experience, like how to really apply to startups, right? And how do you really get a job in startups as a fresher? Yeah.
All right. So I think this is very important because startups might sound very lucrative for like everybody, and from the outside world, every startup looks like because every startup will say ki I am the next big thing, right? So it's very important to have that knack to identify like which startup to work for. And I would say these are just your research skills. There are definitely hacks around it. So one would be like you start with some of the parameters about any company. So one is who is the founder, who are the founders. So you study a lot about the founders, you follow the founders, you actually shadow them for some time. So you figure out what are they doing or what they have done in the past. That is like your core team. If not the founders, then the core team also. Then the second thing is like what is their financial runway. So that financial runway is very critical because that impacts the decision making of a startup. So for example, if I don't have money as a company, I will take decisions which are short term. but if I have a lot of money, I will think of long-term plans also. So financial runway is second thing. And then the third team is the role. This is like the least of all. So which is like the role that they are providing you. So, but this is also critical because sometimes there are roles which might just not suit you as a person. It might be like you're not from your core skill, but it just does not suit you. So take a note of that. And once you start researching about it, so how I used to do it is I used to do a lot of meetings with people before taking a call on whether to join or not. So I used to actually, it is like a two-way interview. So they are also evaluating you, you are also evaluating them. So it's almost like that. So basically you talk to founders, you try to understand as much you can from them, you try to reason with them that why are they doing it, like you try to understand their vision and things. When these can, I'm sure that these cannot be done for a lot of people, but nowadays on LinkedIn people do respond. So please, like even college students can drop a message to founders or at least core team members that I just want to have a quick chat, like a 30 minutes or 20-minute chat, want to talk about your company, I want to explore opportunities there. And then that is where you do your research well. So primary research is just internet googling about it, and then you talk based on your shortlist to the people who are working and try to gauge and then make a call. So I think startups also appreciate that people are just not any applicant is just not jumping across ki, yes, this is very funded, this is too funded, I just want to join, something like that. They also want people who are passionate about the idea. So every early employee is almost a stakeholder to the startup, not an employee. So that for a founder looks at any new employee as a stakeholder, whether he can be a stakeholder or not, at least. So try to be that guy. So that can only come by your level of research and how much you like that idea.
Yeah, I think I just love one of the things that you've said, that which is actually try to actually connect with the people, right? You can just DM someone and just have a one-way conversation, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is more, people just shows interest in you. One of the hacks that one of, someone from Freshworks told me, while you're applying to startups, especially when you are at a very early age, is to show value first, right? And value first is basically that, let's say that you're going to give an interview as a performance marketer, right, which who runs ads. So why don't you first run the ad yourself of that particular company, right, for a budget of, let's say, 500 rupees, 1,000, and make just a landing page, make a Canva post, right? And at the time of interview, right, bring your laptop, bring all the spreadsheets together, and just show it to the person that, before the interview, I've actually done ads for you, right? Even if you're applying for a sales, right, you actually do 10 sales call, right? I think some of the these are some of the hacks that I think I
Yeah,
tried while getting
definitely.
projects. Yeah.
Yeah, these are definitely very, very good hacks, and they work. They definitely work.
Yeah.
And even people, like if they are short of time and they are not able to do that, they can of course offer this
Yeah.
at the time of the first communication. That you cannot you might do it yourself and then present it later, or you can also offer this as your first communication. Key, I will do like a quick live project or whatever you can call it. I will
Yeah.
do a 7-day project with you and I will show you what I am capable of. That is like the best interview that can ever happen. So these definitely work for a startup.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So I think that's one of the things that actually can work for a lot of individuals, because we get a lot of LinkedIn replies with the CVs and on WhatsApp. So things doesn't really work in that way, right? You probably need to show some value, and then people would love to, connect with you. We just have a last, I think, very interesting question, right? What advice did you have for all the people who are just passing out of college or probably in college, who are thinking to start their business or to thinking to make a career in startups?
So these are two different questions, first of all. So I'll just answer both of them. So thinking to start your own startup is like I would say, is a exercise which should be given enough time. So it starts with idea, then it rolls down to your founder or co-founder, and once you have both of these sorted, you never jump the gun. So that is how I have seen it happening in the past, and I love to operate this, like my personal choice. So what does that mean is like boiling down to an idea is basically like testing it out, not just researching it out. So testing it out means you just throw it with few friends or maybe friends of friends, at least try out. Maybe if not the product is ready, but at least if you say ki, if this product was ready, would you be willing to take it up? So at least gauge a sense of ki, whether market wants something like that or whether they will appreciate something like that or not. And if you feel like yes, there is a need of this product, this will be helpful to a lot of people, then you start finding someone who believes in it too. And that is a very very tough job. So finding a co-founder is like finding maybe your spouse or husband. It is just like marriage. So get that person, talk to that person, and maybe start working with it on the idea, start developing that idea together. And it generally takes like around 1 month or 2 months bare minimum. I personally take more time to identify whether I am able to work with a person or not, like as a co-founder. So that is something which you should do before fixing a co-founder, and then you basically start planning around it. Ki now it is the planning phase. Ki if I quit whatever I was doing, like if I quit my job or my source of income, whatever it was, then am I prepared to last for like at least a year? So that preparation, when that preparation is done, and here when you have a co-founder, that is easier to do. So you basically contribute. So then when that is ready, that is where you just go all out in the market and just get aggressive. Okay, now I'll have to just execute my plan. So that is how you start up. And when it comes about starting as a career option in a startup, I think that is fairly easy. That is easy in terms of just identifying the right startup, identifying the right set of people. I believe like for the first job, it is all about you. It is the people who you work for. It is not the work that you work for. So this is one learning that I've learned during my Flipkart days only. So in Flipkart, like a lot of people like me joined at the same time in Flipkart, and I have had like friends who were just frustrated with Flipkart from like after 2 months after joining. And I had like the most amazing time of my life in Flipkart just because my manager was, I had a very good relationship with my manager. So it is just about people and it is not about work. And when it comes to work, like even in Flipkart, so I was given, so we used to get randomly allocated to business functions, and I was allocated to the business function which I didn't even chose for. So basically I was allocated to customer support, and there was a hype in Flipkart that customer support mein to learning is zero. But luckily my manager was amazing, and I had like the most amazing time there. And yeah, so it is all about people. So working or starting your career in startup is like researching about people, about the founders. And if you want to know who the team, or how the team would be, the best bet would be, suppose if it is a small company like a 50-member team, then mostly it would be influenced by the founders like influence in terms of behavior, in terms of culture and everything. So even if you know about like what are the values of a founder, of that founder, I think you kind of know that yes, this is the type of company I can work for. So that's how you can start your career. And yeah, regarding application, we have discussed earlier only how to apply, how to hack an interview. So I guess you should be good to go then.
Yeah, quite interesting. I think all the answers were really, really interesting and impressive. Thank you so much, Yash, for giving all these insights. And I genuinely believe that all the people who have watched, who are watching this, and will watch, will definitely get a lot of value from this podcast. Podcast,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say we should call it vodcast and not podcast.
All right, yeah. Thank you so much, Yash, for this wonderful insight. Thank you for that.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks, Saurabh, for having me. Thank you.